Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714 898 0765.
Hi, welcome back to the OC Health and Education Show on Little Saigon TV. I'm your host, Julie Yip. We're going to continue our conversation today with Dr. Scott Comudala, the director for the Center for Community Health. He is also a professor at UCLA in public health and the School of Medicine, and he is here to talk about his experience with the VR technology and how to make a practical application to help the community. Julie Yip cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV đã tiếp tục theo dõi chương trình Kiến thức y khoa gia đình và xã hội. Hôm nay Julie nói chuyện với Dr. Scott Comudala là Director of the Center for Community Health, cũng là Professor at the School of Medicine and Public Health. Hôm nay nói về virtual reality and cái áp dụng để cho cái technology đây. Dr. Scott Comudala, thank you so much for sharing with us, your experiences, your family, talking about what a great, wonderful wife you have in Jeanette that's supporting what you do, but also have such an inspiration in your daughter, Sophie. That, a lot of times we as parents want to live a more meaningful and purposeful life. And what a greater purpose to meet the needs of your own children that's going to be able to help the community at large. A lot of times, I do work in the community for OC Autism. People are just telling me, oh, you're such a great person. The truth is, I experience autism. My family knows autism firsthand. So it's very hard because, when you're quote unquote high functioning, that term tells the community that you don't need help, that you don't need accommodation, that you don't need support, and maybe you're not even deserving of the support that is available. So I know one of my biggest goal in the community is to kind of eliminate the barriers to access, accessing much needed programs, accessing much needed resources, and accessing one of the most important things is information. And putting in a language and in a culturally sensitive way where our family is more willing to receive that help. And I truly believe that your virtual reality application will help, not only my Vietnamese community or my disability community, but I think, every community who experience this barrier to getting what they need. Can you talk towards that access component?
Absolutely. I love that you brought that up. We could almost have another whole show and just talk about that. The VR work in reducing barriers really builds off my passion and what I've been involved in my whole career in public health.
Yes.
And you think about the two of us sitting here, one of the reasons we're sitting here is because we have community. We have people pulling for us.
Yes.
When I look back, I've just mentioned a few names, but I think, faith is very important to me. God.
Most definitely.
Community. I think of people in my life. I mentioned the parents, Mary Jane Rotherham Boris, Isa Fernandez, Rob Weiss. These are all faculty members that made a huge impact. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have them. And I think there's a lot of people that they don't have that.
Yes.
And that's the only difference between us that make it and the people that don't, is that they don't have that. So how can we give that to them? So a lot of the work I do is with HIV, substance use. And one of the things you mentioned that I liked was functioning. There's a lot of people walking around that are functioning, but they deal with alcoholism. They deal with depression, anxiety. People in high-risk situations with HIV and whatnot. They're next door, our neighbors, and they're suffering on their own. So how do we reduce those barriers? And some of the work is with the healthcare providers, making them more attuned to the needs. And that's one of the areas I believe with virtual reality where we can help train providers as well. We all communicate best with people that look like us, that sound like us. I mean, we're an exception, I guess. We communicate just fine. We don't look alike.
Because we're twins.
We're twins, in some ways. But in general, in all seriousness, that's kind of the norm. And so what do you get when you get someone who comes into your clinic? You're a healthcare provider. They're a substance user or whatnot. They don't look like you. How do you break those barriers down? Well, we're seeing evidence that VR can help deal with what we call implicit and explicit biases we have towards people.
Yeah.
That's a whole other...
That's hard for people to accept because, you know, we all believe that we don't have these biases and that we're loving and caring.
Right.
But, you know, unfortunately, there are a lot of those. And especially when you do research, you have the numbers to support that exists.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of the work we try to do to emphasize, it's working together, working with community partners. Some of the pictures I provided to you, everything I do is with teams. You know, I have pictures of my people in my office, faculty, staff, me zipping down the hall in a scooter with my IT guy, Johnny. Right. I can't do anything alone. And that's what we forget with people in our community is that they can't do it alone either. They need our help. They need each other.
And we all need each other.
We all need each other,
And I think that's, you know, when I do the show, I always tell people that OC to me stands for community.
I love it.
And my daughter always makes fun of me. My kids are like, oh, OC stands for community. But the truth is, that's what it is to me. Because I truly believe that we do need to lend each other's talent and skills so we can support each other's projects. So you'll always have my support, Scott.
Same here, Julie. I appreciate
thank you
that.
so much. Thưa quý vị khán giả, hôm nay Julie nói chuyện với Dr. Scott Comudala of Beyond Inc. Beyond Inc. là một cái virtual reality company giúp cho cái áp dụng virtual reality cho giúp cho cộng đồng của mình. Trước nhất, Scott có một đứa con 8 tuổi muốn giúp cho con em để cho khỏi bị cái anxiety lúc mà có cái medical procedure. Mà thêm nữa đó, Scott là một cái người public health, làm sao là cái áp dụng cái research, cái data, cái số cái về statistics để cho giúp cho cộng đồng của mình làm suy nghĩ về cái rules, policy, procedure. Một cái việc gì mà Julie làm trong cộng đồng mà Julie thấy là rất quan trọng á, là to eliminate barriers to access. Rất nhiều người Việt Nam của mình hay nhiều người mà không có biết nói tiếng Anh thì có thể có nhiều cái khó khăn để cho tìm nhiều cái dịch vụ để cho giúp cho mình, mà thêm nữa là về đủ cái thông tin để cho mình hiểu về làm sao mình giúp gia đình của mình thêm. Mà điều cái virtual reality á, là giúp cho eliminate cái barriers to access. Trước nhất Dr. Scott Comudala nói đó là it makes it more accessible. Chừng nào mình không có tiền để cho mình bay qua nước khác, mình được cái experience đó, cái virtual reality tạo ra cái câu hỏi đó. Dr. Comudala, you know, I just tried to kind of recap kind of the importance of your work, but I know I couldn't do justice to all that you're saying. But I think most importantly, I really appreciate that you're making sure that there are more opportunities. That's what you're creating with your virtual reality. You're creating more opportunities to accessing and experiencing the world. Because I know as a speech pathologist, language develops with opportunities. And when our kids don't have the opportunities, they don't have the language to attach it to. So I'm going to continue to follow your work and to follow all the great things that you're doing. Are there any things that you want to say to our viewers, to our community, just to kind of remind them the importance of public health and how virtual reality can help our community as we close the program?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, you know, having traveled the world, I love different communities. And having gone to Vietnam, I love the people there, just everything about the culture. And, you know, I just look forward to working with you and other people in the Vietnamese community to bringing VR to bear to public health issues, whether it's with front-loading with autism, the cultural center. You're going to be opening to give people an experience there. You know, I'll just close with one thought. I remember years ago going to South Africa, and the kids there wanted me to take pictures of them. And at the time, it was with a digital camera. We didn't have the phones. And I asked them why, and they said, I've never seen myself. They didn't have mirrors. You know, we take for granted.
Yeah.
So, you know, thinking back to that and the different experience, it's like you said, virtual reality can reduce barriers and access by giving people a chance to see themselves, the world around them, in a different light that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Comudala, for coming all the way from LA to our set today and to share, you know, the richness of your experience. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Julie cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV đã luôn luôn ủng hộ chương trình kiến thức y khoa, gia đình và xã hội. Hôm nay Julie có thời gian nói chuyện với Dr. Scott Comudala and the practical application of virtual reality. Quan trọng nhất là Julie với Dr. Scott Comudala muốn tạo ra rất nhiều câu hỏi cho con của mình với cộng đồng của mình có nhiều cái experience để cho mình hiểu về hiểu mình, với thêm nữa hiểu về cái world around us. Julie luôn luôn chúc quý vị khán giả rất nhiều hạnh phúc và sức khỏe. Cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV.